television show. I'm Jean Oursler, your host. The Get Results television show is to help you get results. We have Greg Stewart. Greg, say hi.
Hey, hi, it's Greg Stewart joining, and I'm glad I could join you today.
And we're glad to have you today. Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I know that you're in this fabulous book. I have it right here. Do you have your
There it is.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the book and what you do and...
Well, actually, if you even take a step back, when we first got linked up with the book, which has been one of the best experience I did, and I highly recommend folks think about doing that. I had resisted it for years after being an independent business consultant and coach for now it's about 14 years. And I always thought about doing one, resisted. A friend called and said, hey, would you think about getting involved? I highly recommend anybody that hasn't done it yet. It is a challenge, but it's well worth the overall interactions, and also with the way that you and the team coordinated, and also putting together 20 of us that now actually most of us refer work amongst each other. So it's a phenomenal statement for a different level of networking and taking your business to the next level.
Wow, I had no idea that you were all networking with each other. All right, let's back up. So how did you get into the book? Why did you decide to get in the book? What's the book done for you? Let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about the network. What an added bonus. It's awesome.
No, it's fair. It's absolutely, it's been great. And if you even think about when you and I met face-to-face for the first time, it was at Park Avenue Club. And then they're going around the room and said, oh, we know each other, but had never met, which was pretty funny. So, but from a step back, I started my own business with 4 partners originally back in 2003. After a long corporate career with AT&T, started a consulting, and it was actually a business vendor management business for Fortune 100 firms. And over the years, we've changed to where I am today, and this is my 14th year as a business advisor, focusing on helping businesses improve, take their business to the next level, and actually run their business to the other way around. My forte falls into the operational structure, which is what I do. Most of my focus on is how a business is structured, managed, how the business owner or ownership team manages themselves and their team, and then delivers and supports their product and service to their client. And you and I got linked up through a mutual friend who was actually in the book as well. And her and I had done some other business together over the years, and she had come in and actually did a phenomenal job for me with one of my larger clients on putting together a business operations program for them. And so she had mentioned the book, and the book, which had a little over 20 authors on it. And one of the things that it gave us all an opportunity of, but also ended up being a huge challenge, was selecting one topic that was our expertise. And especially with, like myself, I have a variety of background to leverage everything from a sales, I was a salesperson, sales manager, I was a product manager, then I ran a division, I ran an outsourcing group domestically, and I also was a product manager internationally before starting my own consulting and coaching business. And I try to leverage those type of components across when I'm working with a client. Picking one particular venue was one of the hardest things to do. And it actually helped me take my own business to another level, because of the fact that when I did select it, that is really what's near and dear to my heart when I do work with a client, which is, how do you deliver outstanding customer service? And my whole focus on that, and when I'm working with a client, is the same thing. Deliver outstanding customer service. It reduces a lot of ills. It helps set you apart from your competition, but on top of it, a client that's happy and pleased and smiling, he normally will pay their bill, but on top of it, will not complain. And 9 out of 10 folks will always share a bad experience. Only 1 in 10 will normally go out of their way to share a good experience. And if you're delivering outstanding customer experience to your clients, you reduce that 9 out of 10 complaints that people are going to say, oh God, let me look them up on the internet and find out what they're doing wrong. So it totally takes out of play that whole thing. It helps separate you and differentiate you. And I've built my entire organization over the years, as well as my organization. I was in corporate America. I was actually paid under a profit and loss statement, and I measured my team on a customer sat. And we lost one client over a 5-year period, and that was because that division was bought by a competitor's group. So outstanding customer service can deliver outstanding results for folks, and that's what I tried to focus on when we did the book for how do you do breakthrough results. It supports that. And it's not that hard to do, but it does take an effort. And it really does. Follow up with your clients, make the call to them. Don't be afraid to ask the hard question, which is, are we doing okay? Grade yourself with a report card on them. Are you delivering the results that you assume that you had promised them to do? If you're not delivering, fix it. Fix it before they get upset. Once they're upset, you cannot solve it. It takes 10 times the effort to fix it. Same as when I'm working with a client, I always ask them, how often do you talk to your lawyer, to your accountant, and all your other type of service organizations? And you get some really interesting ones. Why would I talk to my lawyer? I said, would you rather litigate or avoid litigation? And it goes through that with every single business component and process on your business. Ask the hard questions before you're pinned into a corner. Ask the questions. Am I doing a good job? Are we hitting the marks that you expect us to do? And do it on a regular basis. And if you're not afraid to ask those questions, you will get much better results as you move forward with your clients. And also, especially as you're in a smaller business environment like you and I are, we need those referrals. Those referrals make the difference on your survivability as well, because there are a lot of choices out there. And if you're delivering a higher level of service, you're a differentiator from anybody that's coming in with anything else.
I totally agree with all of that. Well, then what do we need to do what are some of the things that we should do besides asking the hard questions, which sounds like we should do that, once a quarter, once a month, every phone?
It really depends on the situation. Minimum yearly, depends on the relationship with the client. But it also comes into, especially as you're starting up, do a lot more checkpoints, especially if you're doing a new service offering or project with your client. Ask the questions all the time. But not that you're badgering. Minimum, like a weekly review. Are we hitting our targets? When you put together a timeline with them on what you're going to deliver, ask them those questions. Review with them. If you're having an issue, tell them up front. Tell them sooner rather than later. Don't assume that, well, they'll put up with it, I'm not going to tell them. It doesn't work that way. Once you keep them engaged, keep yourself and them in a partnership. You are delivering a service. And so take the extra effort and do it. Document when you're having an issue. Use it as a learning experience. We're all going to fall down, but it's how you react to those things. So if you make a mistake, be honest with them. Say, hey, Jean, I messed up. I have an issue with this. I can't deliver this at this type of date, but we can do this workaround and get it done in XYZ time. Is that okay with your business? And 9 out of 10 times, it'll work. People are a lot more flexible. Just don't surprise them. So that's the biggest thing for anybody from a business perspective. Ask the questions of your client. Do a little customer survey. If you're in a retail environment, it's as important as it is in a service environment. Ask the questions. There's a lot of choices. Make it harder for them to leave you by differentiating yourself from anybody else that's just taking their money.
And how do we differentiate ourselves from other people in terms of our customer service? Is there like a couple of things we could do about that?
Yeah, a couple key things is define what your goals are, and you got to go back to the basics. Everybody should have a target for each month, target for the year. What are your goals? What are your objectives? What's your mission of the business? What's your mission statement? Once you put all those type of components together, then you can truly lay out the plan for how you're going to be successful. And then when you're meeting with a client, the same type of things apply, not only from your internal business on how you're going to be successful, but how you're going to be successful with the client. Lay out a plan with them that makes sense to them. What is the project or the timelines that you're going to be able to deliver for? Does it meet what their components are? If they're not realistic with it, then you have to lay out the fact that I can't achieve those. Don't lie to them and say, yeah, I'll get to it, and then miss it. Be honest up front. And that's a hard conversation that you have to be willing to do. If you're not going to be willing to do it, you might, it's a coin toss whether or not you can be successful at that. My goal and my targets and my recommendation to all my clients is be honest up front. If you run into a roadblock or you can't do it and their expectations are unrealistic, tell them I can't make it. If they say go away, I said, okay, fine. Call me when you're ready to get it done the right way. And don't make the assumptions that they're going to accept something that you're not going to do full force. And if you're going to do it, remember, brand yourself and your company. If you start to cut corners, you've now changed your brand from high end to that person will cut corners to get it done. That's not a brand that I live with, and that's not a brand I would recommend to any of my clients when I refer someone. So it's got to be and it always should be, the main goal is a win-win. It's got to be good for both parties. And if not, you also have to be able to use the hard word, which is no thank you. Go to the internet and find somebody else, because it's not going to benefit you long term.
I love that. So why do you think it's hard for us to ask such difficult questions of how we're doing?
People are afraid of the answer. Who wants to hear bad news? So you just say, it's part of the stick the head in the sand. I'm just going to keep moving forward and hope nobody complains. Human nature dictates the fact that you don't want to ask that question. So one of the things, like when I'm working with a client, I prompt them to ask that question. Same thing I ask them when I meet with them is, how are we doing? Are we on target? Do you need to change the targets we've already agreed to? Because don't be afraid to modify the plan, because the business environment for both you and your clients can change. That can change the dynamic. So that's why if you're constantly in contact with them and asking the questions of, am I meeting what you expected? Is it still the way your business is structured? As things change and you can modify to support that, you're viewed in a better light anyway. And plus the fact you're solving their problem, which is why they brought you in the first place. And remember, competitors talk. I go back to my days. I was a manager for AT&T. I knew all my competitors. We talked all the time. And every company has issues. There's not one that doesn't. It's how do you react to them? How do you overcome them? How do you overcome those type of objections to deliver the right type of service or product to your clients? That's the differentiator that all of us strive to get to be at that next level. If you strive, ask the questions, move forward with it, you can get those breakthrough results, the outstanding results as you move forward. And that's what I try to preach, and I've lived, and I've been fortunate. I've had a great both corporate career, as well as I've had a great time doing this as a independent consultant over the last 14 years, and meeting a lot of great people like yourself and some of the folks that are watching this, as well as the folks that were in the book with me, as well as some of my other networking groups. It's a great ride if you are honest, and that's one of the hardest things, is just don't be afraid to take bad news. It's how you react to it is the differentiator.
I would agree with that. So it sounds like we've got to ask the hard question. We have to do it at least once a year, maybe even more if it's a relatively new client. If it's bad news, then we need to deal with it. If it's good news, we should celebrate, right?
Oh, and leverage it and help make it to the next step. Good news is always, and like I said, most people don't share the good news. Everybody, it's human nature dictates. I'm going to always say, God, did I have a horrible day today? And so it's like, how do you fix those components? You can't fix it if you don't ask the question. And that's the differentiator on being able to deliver something to your client that makes sense to them. That is good, because they'll talk to other competitors. Will ask them, hey, where'd you get that? Well, I got it from Jean. So that's where you can, it helps your credibility and really improves the opportunities that you can get long term. And it takes work. It is work. It's not, you're not going to sit back and have it, like they're going to back up the dump truck with cash and say, hey, would you do the following 10 items for it? It doesn't happen that way.
Why do we think that it's going to be that way?
Yeah, well, that's utopia, but the reality of the situation means you do have to work at it. there is a reason that it's still called work, and all those other 4-letter words had been used up already over the years. But work is a challenge, and that's the whole point of it. But it can be a fun challenge if you accept it and really embrace it. We should be doing stuff that we enjoy. I mean, like I said, I enjoy working with this different sized businesses I do today, and helping them make a change. I came out of a corporate environment that change took a long time to implement, and you had to have a lot of approvals to implement it. Working with the smaller clients, you make a change, you get a lot more results quicker, because it doesn't have to impact such a huge type of a corporation. So the dynamics are totally different. And so like your own return on investment is totally different when you're working in the type of marketplace from the small to the mid sizes primarily. And when you do make a tweak in it, I mean, it almost can be close to instant results. And so like, it's just like, wow, let's do the next thing. And that's when you start getting that from the clients. It's a good satisfaction for yourself too, as you're working with them. And then you see the folks that you've brought in have hit a home run for the client, and like that's what they say, wow, now my website's outstanding, or wow, now my social media components are working, or like now my financials are so much better because now I have a better structure when I'm doing with my insurance and my benefits for the client, for my employees. And so all those type of things, as you're bringing the right type of personnel to be in front of a client, bring results that are beneficial on both sides of the pipe.
I love that. All right. What else can we do in terms of improving great customer service?
The consistent factor is the thing that I always try to home in on is you have to be, and they have to be measurable. So you got to be able to measure results. So, and one of the hardest parts, especially as you're working with different type businesses, is if they never measured things before, you got to put those type of components in place. So the recommendation I always go with is start small. Start with small things that you can actually track, and then it can expand over time. So do some basic things, like say it's a doctor's office, and how long are your patients waiting? I mean, that's like a common type of a thing that just doesn't seem to be addressed in a lot of situations. So you start out that simple, and it's like, are your customers in the waiting room happy? If not, why not? Well, they're sitting here for 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Okay, well, how do you communicate with them, or don't you? And so those type of things are some little basic ones that as you start to move along, say, all right, so now we've done that. Maybe we need to fix our scheduling, or maybe we need to change the way that we actually bring folks into the door, and how do we deliver our own services, and how do we schedule UPS as a case in point, maybe for a different type of a business. So all those type of things, don't do them all at once is the number one recommendation. Start small, measure it. How have you attained it? Were your goals even accurate? If your initial goal says, well, I'm going to have UPS deliver in 2 hours, and the reality is UPS does not do that even for the largest, for Amazon, say. So the thing is, you also have to set realistic goals that you can do, so you're not setting expectations for your end result, which is your client, that are making them unhappy. So start off with measurements, make them realistic, change them as you move along. And also as you get better at delivering services, now you can start to move some of those dates up and times up. So instead of saying, well, I'm going to have an 8-hour fix for my client, it could then turn to 4 hours. It could turn to 2 hours. And so all those type of things, it's constantly evolving platform is what you're really working with. So again, it starts with identify what your measurements are, how are you delivering them, how do you need to change them as you go forward, are you achieving, and then the favorite one for me is, are you achieving what your clients expect? So you may be saying, I'm going to do 8 hours, well, they expect 5. I can't attain it. So are you, the other hard question you're going to have to ask yourself, am I targeting the right market? Because their expectations are different than you can deliver, and can you even deliver in that market? So there's also some reality checks that if you measure correctly can help you even change your own business to be much more successful. So measurements, I'm a big key component of trying to get your arms around how do you measure, and so that what you're delivering is actually measurable, attainable, and repeatable. Those are the 3 big things you got to be able to do to be a success in any type of business. The other one is also reviews. As I said, like asking those questions. How do you review those components with the client? And one of the things that, depending on the size of the company, especially if you have employees, one of the hard parts for a smaller business owner or even larger business owners, how do you engage your own team? If you don't engage your team, you're not going to transform your culture to be the one that you have in your vision. So your own vision can't be secret. If you have a team, you also have to understand what their goals and objectives are, what their expectations are. How do they understand your culture? What's your mission of your business? What's your vision for the business? And your vision is take it to the next level. If the employees aren't engaged, you ain't getting there. It's not going to happen. So you also have to keep it out of your own private office and engage your team. One of the things that over the years as I've worked with folks is the hardest part is to get them to have a town hall meeting, share your vision in a big environment with everybody, from your right-hand person to a loading clerk. It doesn't matter. You need to share the vision so that you get them engaged. Otherwise, you're going to have a partial company. And so it's going to be very hard to take it to that next level with them. And if everybody's not on the same step, it's going to fail. It's just going to fail by its own right. And you're not going to be able to hit what you view because you've kept it a secret. So maybe the secret's good because then nobody can say you failed. But I'm a big proponent of you really have to have a culture that supports where your vision is. And the only way you can have that is to be open about it, share it, have everybody accept it. And then also face the hard fact that maybe your vision and mission aren't structured the right way for the employees you have. So you might need to change that as well. So, and that's something you have to do over time, is to migrate in and really recruit the right type of people for the business to take it to the next level. And that's also a hard conversation that I've had with clients that you're like, so, well, that's my friend. Okay, but your friend's not in the right position here. If you want this company to hit the numbers that you're challenging me to help you hit. So those are the type of hard conversations. And again, it's looking yourself in the mirror in simplest terms of, can I do this? Are we structured the right way to do this? Do we have the right talent around us to do this? And is the market supporting it? Which is also the other thing. Don't assume the market really exists, especially in this day and age with our economy burping along at times and changing its directions. And the state of New Jersey has our new 23 cents plus gas went up today. So, it's a whole different challenge for service-oriented delivering clients, because that 23 cents isn't going to disappear. That's going to be in everybody's pocket challenge someplace along the line. So don't kid yourself. Those type of dynamics which can change the environment we're working in. So that's why you have to be very actively engaged and with an outlook of where you want to get to, and then looking at your environment and looking across it. Don't stay in a shell. Keep the door closed. All of a sudden they're going to board it up on you in simplest terms. So you got to ask the hard questions and look outside and look for outside help, get some outside opinions, and reach out to other folks and just say, because even though I'm in a business advisory coaches type position, we have our own, we always ask other coaches and so forth for help as well. Ask the hard question. Am I doing okay? You're like, am I hitting those marks? So park ego. If the simplest thing for any business leader is to park your ego and ask the questions.
I love that. Greg, I have to tell you, you've done such a great job today. How can people work with you if they want to reach out to you and talk to you more about this subject? Well, my company's name is Next Gen Management, which is nexgenmgt.com on the internet. I'm based in New Jersey, Morris County to be specific. Reach number 973-927-5446, and find me on Next Gen on Facebook, on LinkedIn, as well as through the internet. And also, if I can help anybody, I'll gladly do it. I try to link folks up.
I take great pride in the fact that my network, that includes you, by the way, that I do refer folks in that I think are the right fit for clients and also other networking friends. So if I can help anybody, I'll gladly try.
And that is very true about Greg. If you want to learn more about customer loyalty and all the things that Greg talked about, please reach out to him. And with that said, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching Get Results Television today. My name is Jean Oursler. I'm the host. We've been here with Greg.
And tell them to check out our book.
And check out our book because it's right here. We'll talk about that. Excellent. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Take care.
Thanks. I appreciate the opportunity.
I appreciate the opportunity. Bye. All right, I'm here with Greg Stewart, and we're going to talk about the Breakthrough Results book. Greg, tell me why you're in this book and why it's so important that everybody else be in this book too.
Well, as one of the things is we started this about this time last year, as I recall, and it was one of the things is the book, and I do highly recommend it. It's has I guess 22 authors in it. A lot of us. Some of us knew each other before, most of us knew each other, but very lightly. I think you did a phenomenal job of pulling us all together because each of us has a really different level of a focus on our businesses as well as a different expertise that we try to bear. And the book really helps tie it all together, and it really does flow. And one of the things I was joking around with a couple folks that are in the book is the hardest part that I found as we did our reviews and accepted what our challenge was for each of our expertise chapters, was keeping it to the numbers, which when we first heard the numbers of how long our chapters was, holy mackerel, that's a long time to write. Hardest part was cutting it down to make it fit and get to the point, to be honest with you. And then the other, which I give a lot of credit to, is to you and your team on how moving the different pieces around so that it actually does flow. And it really helps folks, if they look at it, take it from the theory into practical implementation of how you actually can take your business to another level. How do you achieve breakthrough results? And the experts that are in this book, I've done business with them before. I'm doing a lot more business with them now after, in the fact that they are experts in their different components. So it's there's a reason it hit bestseller on a business environment is the fact that it does provide value if you do look at it and look at the different chapters. And recommendation I have for folks is, if you're weak and you know you're weak in one particular area, read that chapter. And I've referred a couple folks to look at some of the stuff like on the social media components that they're struggling with. Said, go read that chapter. She did a wonderful job on it. Go look at this chapter. He did a great job on that one. And it's really proved to be a great tool in helping clients. As a matter of fact, I gave a copy of the book out to a lot of my existing clients, and just as a reference manual for them. And they've in turn shared it with other folks. So it's really a great tool for helping folks just open their eyes a little bit to some struggles. My own particular component of it focused all on client service, which is the focus that my business is based on.
Hey, Greg, why do you think people should be an author in this book? Why should they be an author in one of our anthology books?
It helps you. It's actually a fun thing, and especially being the author component of it, because of, like I said, I knew a lot of the folks. I knew probably about 50% of the folks before, and as you and I joked around, I got introduced to you through a friend who's in the book, and then we met each other at a networking event, first time face to face, and the two folks that were introduced said, "You two know each other?" Well, just through the phone, and we're writing a book together. And I go, it's like it actually blew them away. And but it really helps you totally clarify a different level amongst your own self and your business. And then really it became such a close knit group as we were doing different conference calls and helping each other, because how the book structure worked, and this is where I applaud the efforts that you did with it, is we really were a community that was post something and get asked for their feedback. Did it make sense to you? Is it hitting home? Is it really hitting what my objective was? And we weren't assigned different components of it. When we first started out, said, what is your particular expertise you want to focus on? And so as we started to identify and fine tune that, things changed. And I found it as a great project to help me even take my own focus, which I do with the clients on client sat, to a different level, but also take a different level and leverage a lot of the co-authors that are in it, contributing authors, on the fact that said, wow, now I really know a different level of what she does. And I've referred folks into different clients as well as put other folks together with it. The other component of why folks should consider doing a book, it's become one of my best promotional pieces. I gave it to a lot of my existing clients, and I got calls from folks, hey, I read your book. And I go, how'd you find it? And they said, well, I got it from so-and-so, who was a client, gave it to me and suggested I read it and focus on your chapter. And so I find it as a much better thing than a brochure, to be honest with you. And it's been one of the most powerful tools on a credibility factor. And this is my 14th year as a consulting firm and a coaching firm, and I've always kicked around. I've been told many a times by many clients and friends that why don't you write a book? And I've never sat down to really dedicate the thing because of knowing, oh God, it's going to take forever. It's exciting because you're in with a whole bunch of other folks that never did it before as well. I think there's only 2 people that had actually written one before, yourself included. And all of us had pretty much the same story. People said, you really should do it, but I don't have the time. It cuts the time down to minimal. And you also take your partnership and networking to a whole different level with the folks that you're paired up with, which that's why I said, like, the job you guys do on qualifying each of us and pairing people up was phenomenal. Excuse me. And it really does make a difference as you see the results come through.
Excellent. Any one suggestion that if someone was watching this video and thinking about being an author, any one suggestion that they should do it or not do it?
If you don't think you have the time, I think you're crazy. Because you have so much knowledge in your head, just start writing it down. Pardon me. The other piece is you get so much support from the folks. So you have an idea, you run it by, say, does this make sense to you? And then you get, no, okay. Others get, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Start looking at that. And it really helps make things and the facilitators work good. The lady you had for us that was facilitating, I thought was phenomenal. Because she would ask the different questions and keep us on track for what our overview and our own agendas were laid out to make them work together. And the timelines are realistic. So it's something we all agreed to, that we could make the timelines. It's not you're dictating you'll be done tomorrow and business gets in the way. Every one of us had our own business and family commitments. And that's where this worked for me. And that's why I said, like, the flow, it's actually encouraged me to the fact that I've been putting stuff down to write a solo book, which I had, like I said, for years I had said, nah, I don't have the time. This actually has helped me take that, go put some time together. You can do this. And the results are phenomenal. That's why I like to look at the book. I just think the way it flows together is just spot on. So that's why anybody thinking about it, look at it. And then it also, we've said before, it also take your partnerships and your networking to a different level, because we all struggled through it together and we all refer each other. And we joke around. Like, I was at a meeting a couple of days ago with someone that was one of the authors, and we're at a meeting, and I said, yes, we all wrote a book together, even though neither one of us had a book with us. And one lady we were talking to goes, really? I said, yeah, we're all contributing authors on a great book together. And so it's a great tool for helping you be able to express your business, but also put yourself on another level with some other folks that are going to be contributing authors with you. And you really do understand each other's business in a much better way.
I love that.
I highly recommend it.
Greg, thank you so much for saying that you highly recommend it. We highly recommend it too. And if you're interested in being an author in our next anthology program, please reach out to us. We're at theresultsseries.com or Jean at moreresultsnow.com. And if you want a recommendation from Greg, you can reach out to Greg, and you can reach Greg at
gwstewart@nextgenmanagement.com is my email. www.nextgenmgt.com is the internet site.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Greg, for your recommendation. We're looking forward to having all of you as authors in our next book.